Hello and welcome to Alpha Militaria TV. Thanks very much for tuning in once again and seeing what we're up to. My name is Richard Saunders. Now, if you'd like to support the channel, the best and the easiest way is simply to hit the subscribe button. And if you like what you see, to give us a like as well. But you can also buy us a coffee. The details are down below. Now, the rifle that we're reviewing today is actually one of mine. I should say, and I should have said this before, but all of the rifles that we review are rifles that are loaned to us for the purpose of doing a review, or they're rifles that I actually own. We're not given any rifles. There's none that we're loaned forever and ever or anything like that. You know, they either come to us for review and go back again, or like this one, they're rifles that I own. Now, I bought this one only a few weeks ago. It's a .22 caliber 30 foot-pound FAC version of this rifle, and it is the AGT Vixen. AGT, or Airgun Technology, they make some great rifles. They make the Vulcan, they make the Uragan, but I've had my eye on one of these for quite some time. And this is the long version of the rifle. Now what we'll do is we're going to run through the rifle from back to front as we usually do, and then we'll talk about the whole magazine loading process, inserting the magazine into the breech. We'll talk about the air filling process, and then I'll go down the range, probably in a couple of days' time actually, and put some pellets through it and give you an idea of how it shoots. So the AGT Vixen retails from around about £1,400. At least that's the price that I've seen for the 12 foot-pound version here in the UK. And as ever, it's worth shopping around to get the best price you possibly can. Now, I'd imagine that the FAC version costs a little bit more than that, but I bought this second-hand, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, around about 1,400 quid for a 12 foot-pound version in 177 or 22. Now this is the long version of the rifle. It measures 920 millimeters long with a 480 millimeter barrel, and there's a short version of this which is exactly the same up to sort of this part of the rifle, then it just has a shorter barrel, and that is 770 millimeters long. And you know, they both weigh around about 2.3 kilos, so really light, very compact as well. Even this larger long rifle is very compact. Makes it ideal for using in a hide, shooting from a vehicle, wandering around farm buildings in the dark, you know, even stalking long distances. Very few scenarios where this rifle won't be suitable, to be perfectly honest. Now at the back you have this height adjustable curved rubber shoulder piece, and you slacken off a little screw in the inside, in the middle here, and then you can adjust the shoulder piece, the shoulder pad, up and down. Now that's a really good feature to have on any rifle, to be honest, but on this rifle it's particularly useful because the butt section is actually the main air bottle, and because of that you don't have any adjustment for height or anything in the butt section. It's just the bottle with a neoprene slip over the top of it. The bottle itself is a really nicely finished bottle. It's a carbon wrap bottle, really nicely finished. It's almost a shame to cover it up with a slip, but it does mean that you don't have to put your cheek on the bare bottle. 250cc bottle, which is quite small, and as such they've given this a 300 bar fill. Now, you know, that's fine, apart from, you know, if you're going to be filling your rifle only ever from a compressor, that's fine. If you, like most of us, rely on an air bottle, most air bottles take a 300 bar fill themselves. So, you know, after your first fill, and you probably won't even get 300 bar from your first fill, you're going to be getting less than the optimum level of air in terms of fill in the bottle here. Now that's not really an issue, and to be honest, I fill this up to 250 bar to save the seals a little bit as well. And I get around about 50-55 shots from this .22 FAC rifle, this 30 foot-pound rifle. And I understand that from 12 foot-pound shooters, you can get around about 150-160 shots from a 12 foot-pound bottle, 12 foot-pound rifle with around a 250-260 bar fill, which is ample. Now the distance between the shoulder pad here and the trigger is 14 inches, so that's the length of pull, and that's fairly standard. So although this is quite a small rifle, it's a fairly standard fit. So even if you're a big guy, you should be able to use this rifle as comfortably as you would any other rifle. Now the fill port is right at the back here on my side by the neck of the bottle, and there's a probe that goes in there, and we'll show you the air filling process in a little while. and on top is your main air pressure fill gauge. Now there's only one gauge for this rifle. The rifle is regulated, but there's no secondary gauge to tell you what the regulator pressure is. The pistol grip is nice and comfortable. There's contours on the back and the front, and there's stippling on the sides as well. Makes it very comfortable. It's an ambidextrous grip. The trigger itself is quite a broad blade to the trigger. 2 stages obviously, and it is fully adjustable. Now the stop between the first stage and the second stage is very, very precise, and the break from the second stage to let off is really, really sweet as well. I was mightily impressed with this trigger. Now the rifle is completely ambidextrous, as I say. The cocking lever, and it seems to be a thing on most AGT rifles, is sighted on the left-hand side of the rifle. Now I've discovered that I actually quite like that, because it means that when you're shooting on a range and you've got your hand on the pistol grip, you can cock without taking your hand off the pistol grip. From a hunting perspective, doesn't make that much difference. Now, if you would prefer to have your side lever on the right hand side of the rifle, that's not an issue. It's just a DIY job to swap it over. And the side lever is actually in 2 stages. It's not sprung at all. It's nice and mechanical. That's the first stage. Then you put it back a second stage to cock the rifle, and then pushing it forward probes a pellet through the magazine. Now we'll show you the magazine filling process in a second or two, and you actually get 2 magazines with this rifle. Now, one of the cool things that you can do with this rifle as an accessory is buy a magazine holder, and I haven't managed to get hold of one yet, but it's like a stick that goes on the front here. There's a little Picatinny rail underneath here, and it's a stick that holds, I think, 2 magazines, and it kind of gives the rifle a sort of military assault rifle kind of look, if that sort of thing floats your boat. Now on top there is quite a long Picatinny or Weaver rail to take a scope, and there's plenty of real estate up here for you to get a scope that gives you plenty of eye relief. And the combination of this adjustable shoulder pad and this rail gives you pretty good eye alignment. I've got some medium mounts on this, and you probably want medium or high mounts. So because you don't have an awful lot of adjustment in the butt section, just make sure that you pick the right set of mounts. These I think are mediums, and they work just fine. Now, as I said before, you've got the Picatinny rail underneath here. You have another Picatinny rail here, and then you have this plastic shroud here. Now I understand that you can actually replace this with an aluminium frame along here, and it has these sort of M-lock stations as well. And then back here is a cross bolt safety catch. You push it through from the left to the right to make the gun safe, and then from the right to the left to make the gun live. And then finally, the most standout feature on this rifle is the shroud. Massive, great big thick chunky shroud on this gun. No big surprise that it does a really good job of making this gun quite quiet. There is no capacity though to add an additional silencer on the end of this. To be honest, hunting, I've not found that I needed one. It does a really good job of keeping this nice and quiet. So I think there's all the key features. What we'll do now is we'll have a look at some of those in close-up. Then we'll go through the whole air filling process and the magazine loading process, the magazine inserting into the breech process, and then, as I said before, we'll end up down on the range and give it a shoot. So when you buy an AGT Vixen, you also get a rather nice rifle case with it. It's a really good quality case, this actually. It has zips that go all the way down to both sides, so it opens out flat. It's really well padded, and there's some Velcro straps inside that are adjustable for you to make sure that your gun is nice and secure. And then you also get a box with some goodies. Now, it's entirely possible that there are more goodies with this than what I got when I bought this second hand. But at the very minimum, you get a bottle whip for you to attach to your air tank and fill your AGT Vixen up specifically. I understand it's like a slow fill valve on it. I just use a standard whip on mine, I have to say. You get a couple of magazines, and we'll talk about the magazines in just a second. And then you get some spare O-rings, probably a couple of breech seals I'd imagine, and some Allen keys. As I say, you might get some more stuff if you buy one of these brand new. This was second hand. But yeah, you get a few goodies as well. Now these AGT magazines are really, really well made. They're really solid. They kind of seem indestructible. Now the back of the magazine is this side with the exposed chambers just here. The other side is kind of blank. And this is the side of the magazine that will face you when it's in the breech. Then hopefully at the top you can see there's like a little cutout just up here. Let me get the camera on this. A little cutout there. And that's where you want to put the pellets in. Now the magazine is sprung, the central part is sprung, so you're going to have to rotate this anti-clockwise, and if you let go then it'll just ping back again. But just rotate the magazine round so that the first chamber is in line with that little slot at the top, and then just drop a pellet in the top there. Now you'll need to make sure that you keep your finger, this finger here, behind the hole at the back, because if you don't, the pellet will just fall straight the way through, and you're going to need to do that all the way around. So yeah, just take up the slack with that first chamber, put your pink finger behind it, drop your pellet in, keep your finger there, and then just keep dropping the pellets into the chambers as they're exposed. Now the 2.2 takes 12 pellets, and the 177 takes 15. And then once you've filled up all the chambers, then you're obviously ready to insert it into the breech, and we'll show you that next. So the magazine goes into the right side of the rifle on the AGT Vixen, and as I said before, the back of the magazine has the exposed chambers, and then the front of the magazine has this, hopefully you can see, there's like a little shallow slot just there. Now that's actually the back of the magazine, so you're going to want to put the magazine in with this section facing you and that slot at the bottom of the magazine. Now I've had to put a pellet in this because the magazine will only load, the side lever will only go forward when there's a pellet in the magazine. So first thing to do is make sure your rifle's on safe, and then pull back the side lever as far as it will go, and then with that slot at the bottom of the breech, the magazine just slides in from the right hand side, and then the side lever returns. So the filling process for the AGT Vixen is very, very simple. You can hopefully see back here the fill port. It's on the right hand side of the rifle. It's actually a straightforward hole, but access is on the right hand side, and the port is located just forward of the neck to the main bottle and just below the pressure gauge. Now what you'll need to do is simply take hold of your probe that's supplied with the gun, push it into that fill port as far as it will go. Then obviously you're going to need to attach your air line to the back of the probe and then fill the rifle. Now, as I said before, this is rated for a 300 bar fill, but I tend to give it a 200 bar fill because I know I'm going to get lots of 250 fills from an air tank, and that will enable me to have a good sense of how many shots I've got left before I need to fill again. Then once you have bled the line off, the air out of your line, obviously remove the probe. Now there's no bung or anything to fill up this fill port, so just make sure that you keep an eye on that to keep that clear and free from any mud or dirt. So that's a quick rundown on the AGT Vixen. Let's take it down the range and see how it shoots. So here I am then, once again at Reading Air Target Shooting Club with the AGT Vixen Long. I set a target out at 30 metres, my usual 30 metres, and I'm using JSB Hades 2.2 pellets. Now, because this is an FAC rifle, I'm going to shoot 6 shots at a 30-meter target, and then I'll put the target out at 40 meters and take a few shots there as well. So to start with then, this is 30 meters. Right, let's push it out to 40 meters then. That's about half a mil of holdover. Well, that's all 12 pellets. Let's go down and see how we got on. So this is our target at 30 meters, and as you can see, there's 6 pellets through one hole there, a little bit left of the target. And if I can keep this in shot, you can see that sort of kind of fingernail size, maybe a little bit smaller than the fingernail. So a little bit of adjustment to the right there, just a couple of clicks I'd say. But let's go and look at the 40 meter target now. Hopefully you won't get motion sickness when I do this, and I won't fall over. So this is 6 shots at 40 meters, and looks like a pulled one there, and then that's 5 pellets through, another sort of fingernail size group just here. Again, needs a little bit of adjustment to the right, and probably a little bit more holdover, probably, I don't know, half a mil dot in total. But anyway, that's 12 shots at 30 meters and 40 meters with the AGT Vixen Long with Hades 2.2 pellets. Well, that's our review of the AGT Vixen. Don't forget, this is the long rifle. It's an FAC version as well, putting out about 30 foot-pounds. It's a 2.2. Obviously 12 foot-pound versions are also available. Now, I put targets out at 30 and 40 meters, and people might wonder why I didn't push the distance out to 50 or 60. The simple reason is that I limit myself to hunting with this out to about 45 meters. And I have no doubt that this rifle is capable of grouping well at longer distances. It's just that I don't intend to use them at those sort of distances, so I don't practice over them. Other than that, yeah, really, really nice rifle to shoulder. Beautifully made, really solidly made. Nice and light as well. Trigger's really good. The side lever is sweet as well. Yeah, I think I'm really going to like this. So anyway, I hope you found that useful. If you did, please hit the like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe as well. And don't forget to check out our website, alphamilitaria.com. Thanks for watching.